Welcome to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host. Here's our format. A bunch of guys sitting around a bar. There's no bar. Having drinks. There's no drinks either. But we're talking business, and you, the audience, are listening in. The Best of Investing is actually a radio show that has been around since August 2010, and it airs every Saturday on Fox News Radio, 9:10 a.m. at 1 p.m. Now, we're not a political show. We're strictly business, so everyone will be happy with that. Remember, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. Are you ready? Let's go. A special guest who has been with us before, Mike Zaidlin, who's a registered investment advisor and who's also an attorney, but today specifically he's going to focus in on year-end retirement planning. Mike, welcome to the Best of Investing again.
Well, thank you, Edward. It's great to be here again.
Okay. Now I'm going to jump right in with this first question. What should people know when deciding who to leave retirement benefits to?
Well, it's a bit of a complicated question because it's all very personal, but what I always try to achieve is for my clients to understand what the full implications will be of the choices that they make. And the ultimate stretch benefit, and by that I mean the ultimate estate planning strategy, is if you can leave it to your spouse, you end up getting a great deal more flexibility in your estate plan and are far more likely to end up providing for your heirs a far greater amount of money over a far longer period of time than if you were to leave it to a non-spouse. And again, that's within the context of all other things being equal.
Yeah, so how does this inherited IRA work?
Well, let's say I were to pass away and leave an inherited an IRA to my spouse. Well, the first thing that would happen is that probably the custodian of the account would automatically transfer it to inherited IRA status, although that process could also be overseen by an estate planner or another financial professional. And it probably is a good idea to make sure that process is correctly overseen, because if it doesn't go to a designation as an inherited IRA, and in fact goes to my spouse's regular IRA or to another person's regular IRA, it could be considered a distribution and be taxed immediately. So it's a very fragile process, and you want to make sure it's done right. But that being said, what would happen is whenever you leave an IRA to someone, it becomes an inherited IRA, and so you'll see something like Joe Smith deceased, Sue Smith beneficiary, and that's how you know it's an inherited IRA. And then my spouse would have a choice to either keep it within an inherited IRA, or roll it over into her personal IRA, or to convert it to a Roth IRA, or to roll it into her workplace retirement plan. Anybody besides a spouse, no one has that choice. So basically everyone who is not a spouse who inherits an IRA or a work plan retirement cannot roll it over. It stays in the inherited IRA, and what that means is all the benefits need to be distributed based on the lifespan of the person inheriting it, beginning right at about that time. So you don't have the opportunity, for example, if I were to leave it to my spouse, she can roll it into her IRA, not take any minimum distributions until she turns 70 and a half, whereas the person who is not the spouse who inherits an IRA has to take minimum required distributions immediately. So I don't know if I finished answering your question.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, thank you. It did.
Sure.
Hey, Michael, a year ago they were making a big deal about, in 2010 you're going to have this great opportunity to convert traditional IRAs into Roth IRAs, given that, we've got, a little more than a week left in 2010, and for those people who may not be familiar with it or are still sitting on the fence, what are some of the factors that might influence whether someone converts their traditional IRA into a Roth IRA?
Well, that was a special deal that was only offered if you converted in 2010. And what that did was that allowed the tax to be distributed equally between 2011 and 2012.
So it's no longer available
it's
anymore in 11?
Not if I'm...
I'm a year off.
Well, we'll just have to invent a time machine.
Back in time.
Call me Rumpelstiltskin.
But the other benefits that are available are that there's no longer an income limitation on being able to convert a Roth prior to 2010, if you tried to convert if you tried to convert a traditional IRA to a Roth, you were restricted by income limitations, so not everybody was able to. But now, even though you may not have the tax benefit of splitting it between 2011 and 2012, you still have the benefits of converting the IRA to a Roth. And those benefits, of course, are that you pay the tax up front, and now it can grow tax-free, and no one will have to take a minimum required distribution during their lifetime. So there's still plenty of benefits, and I can get into that a little later.
So now that I missed out on the 2010 freebie conversion there, and it's the end of 2011, and I'm just about to start my tax planning for 2011, what are some of the things that I can look at as tax planning or tax savings strategies?
Well, as far as IRAs are concerned, not many, because you have until April 15th to make a contribution. So,
and that'll affect my 2011 tax bill.
Right,
April
exactly.
15 of 2012.
Right,
okay.
right. So that's the latest.
Well, in fact, I was going to ask you, what are some of the differences between a qualified retirement plan at work and an individual retirement account?
Well, there are quite a few. For one, you can make much higher contributions at work. At work, you can contribute up to $16,500 per person. And if you're over 50, you can contribute an additional $5,500. So you could, in theory, put away $22,000, and that doesn't include what the employer matches. So if the employer is very generous and is matching and including profit sharing in that as well, it can go up to about $49,000. Whereas outside of a workplace retirement plan, if you don't have either a workplace retirement plan such as a 401k or 403b or a defined benefit plan, and you have simply a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, your limits are $5,000 a year with a $1,000 catch-up for being age 50.
So just a question on the employer plan that you were talking about. So if I have an employer plan, either a SEP IRA or a 401k, 403b, and so on, can I take that money and take it out of my employer plan and move it into a traditional or a Roth IRA?
Well, you can. Typically, if you have a 401k plan at work, you normally can't until you turn 55, until you have terminated employment. So that's.
So I gotta quit my job to get my money.
Well, you can still have access to it in other
Yeah.
ways. You can,
Yep.
and in fact, that brings up another difference. Typically, most workplace retirement plans offer participants the ability to take a loan, whereas your traditional IRA, you really can't take a loan because
Only
that's
for
one of
60
the
days if you put it back.
well,
Right.
and then you have to be very careful with that because the rules on that are very unforgiving and very technical. So, for example, if you roll over from one IRA to another IRA, you can only do so once a year.
But you can do trustee to trustee transfers unlimited.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And if you do I always tell my clients, don't ever take a rollover made out to you. Have it made out to the new custodian or have it be done directly trustee to trustee.
Great. Okay, we are in the studio with Mike Zalin, who is giving us some excellent advice on IRAs and other pension and other retirement vehicles. And when we come back from break, we're going to get into some more good questions. So here is the first commercial break, and here is our first trivia question. And again, remember the trivia theme is who blew it? Okay. Who was the University of Michigan basketball player who blew it when he called a timeout when his team had none remaining in 1993, which cost his team the championship? Hint, he was part of the Fab Five. And don't say the Beatles, that was the Fab Four.
I knew we'd have another sports question.
Another sports question. You just love these ones. Yeah, they're all sports questions. Okay, the first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. Who was the University of Michigan basketball player who blew it when he called a timeout when his team had none remaining in 1993, which cost his team the championship? Hint, he was part of the Fab Five. 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, speak slowly and spell it out for us. That would be great. And phone number. And we will be right back. Okay, good.
Michael kept cutting out on
His
my
microphone.
earphones. That's why I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
it was on mine too. That's why I wasn't sure if
Badly
the
cutting
plug
out.
was
That's why
not
I was
plugged
asking
in
to
or
put your
what.
headset on.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't realize I didn't have mine.
Yeah.
Mike, when you do it, you don't think swallow.
Well, that
like,
wasn't
just
it,
kinda-
but
No, it was
so-
staticky and cutting in and
It was
out.
static as though his connection was bad.
Yeah, it was like it was a
I
bad
had to
connection.
take.
Is
It
it
was hurting my
connected
ears. I
there
had to take the.
I just-
Welcome. You're listening to the best of investing on Fox News Radio 9:10 a.m. This is the show where we present valuable information, and for some reason something's going wrong here.
This is where I run across the bottom of the screen. We are experiencing technical difficulties.
I know,
Please
it's
stand by.
Let's try this again. Welcome. You're listening. Why is it doing it? Hey, someone else talk for a minute.
Hello, this is the second best of investing.
Welcome. You're listening to the best of investing on Fox News Radio 9:10 a.m. This is the show where we present valuable information, and I'm going to try this one more time because I don't know what it's not recording.
Can you
Okay.
play? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not doing anything here. It's not doing anything here. Why is, and then nobody's like stepping on
That's what I'm
wires
looking.
or-
I'm looking to make sure that this wire isn't like pinched or anything. No, there's the whole thing, start to finish. There.
Well, welcome. You're listening to the best of investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, and I'm joined in the studio by my co-host Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money, California's premier private lender, and Brian Burke of Praxis Capital. This is the show where we present valuable information about real estate, the financial markets, and other economic business of the day. For those of you listening for the first time, here's our format. A few guys sitting around a bar having drinks, without the drinks, talking business with you, the audience listening in. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Now write that number down, 888-912-1190, because you're going to use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. That's right, we're giving away 9 vacations during this show. The vacations are sponsored by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco, and the vacations are free. Their only request is a $75 cleaning fee to cover housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. You can reach them at 916-777-5511. Today's trivia theme is famous sitcom supporting actors. Okay, we're going to have some fun with this one. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Remember to check us out on Facebook and YouTube by typing Best of Investing Radio Show. Also, if you want to record our show in the future, go to the website dar.fm, type in The Best of Investing, and listen to our show at your leisure. And in the next few weeks, I hope to get Tiffany's to give a lucky listener a gift since Valentine's Day is right around the corner. You guys know I am such a romantic. I've been talking to Tiffany's and they're going to try to get something on the show. And since it's going to be such a nice gift, I'm going to have to make the trivia question a real doozy. Maybe name all 1,517 people who died on the Titanic, right? Just kidding. Okay. Now, today's show is extra special. Our first guest is a woman who, like fine wine and my wife, looks better today, in my opinion, than she did 25 years ago. She has that je ne sais quoi. I don't know what that means, but it's French, so it must be a compliment. Okay, she's the most recognized supermodel in history and had been well known for appearing in many Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazines. But today, she's with us to discuss balancing business with family and personal life, as she now runs a billion-dollar company bearing her name. You guessed it, today we're honored to have Kathy Ireland with us. We all remember Kathy, the supermodel, but today I want to introduce you to Kathy, the entrepreneur. Kathy, welcome to the Best of Investing. Can you hear me okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for those kind words. My goodness, being mentioned in the same breath as your gorgeous wife.
Oh, you've seen the picture.
Compliment. And she inspires me. I mean, women inspire me today. When I began our business back in '93, so often it felt like a male-dominated world in the area of business. I'd walk into meetings and it was very skewed. And I'm experiencing women shattering glass ceilings all the time.
Well, in fact, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you was, when making the transition from modeling to business, how serious were you taken? I mean, because people say I resemble Robin Williams, and yeah, try being taken seriously when you look like Robin Williams, and that doesn't work too well.
You know, I entered the modeling industry as a business person already. First job, 4 years old, selling painted rocks in my wagon, worked my whole life. And we do like to put people in boxes, and that is, it's just part of life. It's something that we all deal with, and we must work through, and not ever allow someone else's perception of us to shape us, to limit us, to give us our identity. But that takes very intentional strategy. It means working through things. I must tell you, one of the greatest gifts of that long ago modeling career was all the rejection. Because when people would dismiss my ideas as the CEO, would not take me seriously, slam doors in my face, that was okay. It didn't destroy me. It was like, hey, at least if they said no, at least we're talking. I'll come back tomorrow. Maybe you'll be in a better mood. Maybe your circumstances will have changed. And I really encourage people out there, don't give up on your dream, but rather have a plan for that dream. A dear friend of mine, Janet Jackson, has a Nutrisystem program going on right now. I don't know if you've seen the great commercials out there. But something she says is, you can't just dream for something. You can't just wish for something. You need a plan, and then you got to get on it. And that is so true about business, about life, and whether you're running a business that's something what Forbes talks about our business being, or whether you're working at a local grocery store, it's the same. And we're all going through it. We're being pushed, we're pulled, there's that stress on time. And something I say, particularly to women, because as women so often we try to do it all. And I really believe it's a matter of prioritizing our time. And for me, my priorities are my faith, my family, then it's being of service through the work. But when you get on an airplane, flight attendants say, what does a flight attendant say to you when you get on a plane?
Is this your seat? Are you supposed to be in first class? That's what they always tell me.
But she or he will say, put on your own oxygen mask first. Then you can help those around you.
Well, in fact, when I went on an airplane, I went on an airplane one time, and they said, put on your mask first, and then put on your kids, and if you have two of them, pick which one's your favorite.
Oh my goodness!
My both kids looked at me and said, "Pick me, Daddy, pick me."
You know what? The mom with no matter how many kids she'd have, she'd get those oxygen masks.
Absolutely. Hey, Kathy, I wanted to ask you, because one of the reasons that I wanted you to be the guest on the show is that you spoke at this charity function that we were just mentioning a few months back. And to me, the best part of your speech was when you said that you'd love to stay and talk for an hour, but you needed to come home to get home in time to take your daughter Chloe to her soccer game. And that really touched my heart, because that's the way I am with my family, where you got to put business second. And I'm impressed with your priorities, because no one ever said on his deathbed, "Gee, I wish I would have spent more time at the office." So how do you run a billion-dollar company and still make time for your family as well as yourself? I mean, my wife and I are already outnumbered, and we only have one child at home, and you've got 3 kids.
We actually have 2 additional kids living with us for a year, and 4 dogs. We're so outnumbered. But it's everybody's going through it, and it's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's back to that plan, and having a plan and a strategy. It's being intentional and really figuring out what your values are. And at different seasons of life, those values might shift. When our kids are young, I'm just not going to miss that. Does it mean I miss certain opportunities? Yes, there's certain business opportunities that I missed out on. I can't attend every friend's birthday party. I work with a team. I love sports. So the idea of working with a team for a common goal, that's exciting to me. I love that. We're a diverse group. And I love that too, because everybody's bringing a different background, different thoughts and opinions to the table. It makes for great debate, and it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us thinking. I love that. But when it comes to our core values, how are people being treated? What's going on in the factories? All of those details that are so important. We're on the same page. And we also believe you don't win when you cheat. And I can't stress enough, loyalty. Stay loyal to everyone you meet. You never want to step on anyone.
Yeah, you never want to burn bridges. I mean, I think that's personally, I think that's one of the major reasons for your success is you have very clean energy and high moral standards. I mean, you never hear any bad press with the name Kathy Ireland. Do you ever hear any bad press with that?
Absolutely not.
No. I was going to ask you, how do you set your boundaries?
Thank you. It's figuring out what's important to you, and then putting boundaries in place to protect those values and making it really clear. And yes, you need to treat people well because it's the right thing to do, but guess what? It's also really good for business, because when you slip, and we all do, we will all have times of slippage. When you're slipping down that ladder, the people you've hurt, they're going to be so happy to kick you further down. So it's so much better to make friends than to make enemies. And life is too short. It makes life better when you have those good relationships. It's important. But I really recommend, setting some firm boundaries. With our company, we look at the calendar 18 months ahead of time. And it starts with the kids, what's going on in their lives. And we fill in the calendar around their needs. And that works for us.
Well, I loved reading your analogy of people being either an anchor or an engine. Can you get into a little bit more depth on that?
Absolutely. I think it's important to, if you're not achieving your goals, it's important to evaluate, stop and look, why? And are you surrounding yourself with people who are anchors, who are weighing you down, or people who are engines, who are propelling you forward? And are you yourself an anchor, or are you an engine? And something I believe to be so true today more than ever, we are our own brands. And some people will say, "What? I'm a person. I'm not a brand. What is this?" But no, you are your own brand, and every experience with you is a lasting brand impression. And the question is, what kind of a brand are you? Are you cranky? Are you do you not get along well with others? Do you bring your drama with you? Are you perpetually late? Or do you consider showing up 5 minutes early, being on time? Are you solution-oriented? Do you work well with others? All of those things. And it's something that we need to constantly evaluate and make changes as needed.
I like that. The anchor and the engine. If you ask my wife, I guess it depends on what day. Sometimes I'm an engine, and sometimes I'm an anchor. Mark, do you have any questions?
I do. Kathy, thanks so much for being on. And you mentioned having a plan and being intentional. And I just wonder, because you're right, it's one thing to write out goals, but so oftentimes you write goals and you set them in a drawer and they don't come true because you don't have a plan really. And I just wonder, what do you do on a daily basis? Maybe do you have a routine you go through every morning maybe to kind of decide how you're going to achieve your goals for the day? I'm curious.
I do. And my first goal, the first thing I do to achieve those goals is work intentionally to honor those priorities, to put those priorities first. And everyone's will be different, but mine is faith, it's family, and then it's being of service to our business. The minute I'm not honoring those, it's very apparent. My coping skills are out the window, stress is unmanageable, and I'm not very effective at anything. So I need to do that and be intentional. And as far as a plan, I recommend writing it down and to answer some key questions. I'll give you an example. When our son was 13, he talked about wanting to purchase a truck. So I asked him some key questions. It's like, okay, how much money do you want? Answer the how much. Be specific. And what are you going to do with the money once you have it? How are you going to get the money? Don't just dream about it and what you're going to do with it, but how are you going to get it? And then what's your timetable look like? When do you want to have this by? a dream without that strategy, without that timetable, that's delusional. Imagination without implementation is a hallucination, and we've got to be very intentional. But writing it down, being realistic, having that plan. Don't limit yourself. Please don't let anyone put you in a box or say you can't do something. So often, we would do things that were very unconventional in our business, and people would say, you can't do that. That's crazy. You can't start a brand with a pair of socks. And I would ask questions, why? And one of the big answers I got was because it's never been done before. And it's never been done does not mean that it can't be done. Were there things that we did that some people might think of as a sacrifice? Sure. I mean, there were times in the early days of our brand when we slept in airports in an effort to save money, and some people think of that as a big deal. It's not a big deal. Whatever material things you have to give up to live your dream, it's not a sacrifice. It's a bold investment, and that bold investment made it possible for us to sell our 100 millionth pair of socks, and then to expand our brand today as a company. I'm so proud of our team. I work with an amazing group of people.
Well, Kathy,
we design and market over 50,000 products, sold in over 50 countries, and it's I never had a family business, but today we have a business family. I believe when you treat the people you work with the way you would want your family members to be treated, there's no limit to what you can accomplish together.
Well, Kathy, I love the story about your son, because it reminds me when my kids were little and they wanted to do a lemonade stand. I actually told him, I said, "Listen, I'm going to be your venture capitalist here. I'm going to take $10."
I love that.
Don't you love that? I took $10. I said, "We're going to go to the store. We're going to buy all of the ingredients." And I said, "The first 10." I mean, I was kind of I was ruthless. I said, "Okay, the first $10 that comes into the door," and we lived on a great corner that it was easy to sell lemonade. I said, "You pay me back the first $10. I'm not going to charge you high rate of interest, but I get paid the first $10 back, and then the rest of it you guys can have." And instilling those values in the kids has gone a long way, because they're very respectful of money right now.
I love that. That is so wonderful. I mean, what you taught your kids, what you gave them, you empowered them, and you showed them that you believe in them and that they can do it. And how'd they do with that lemonade stand?
They did very well. In fact, that's putting them through college. No, just kidding. But hey, Randy's got a question for you.
Kathy, you were honored, and my organization was honored, and your organization, but primarily you were honored several months ago, and we created over 75 scholarships to veterans coming back from war. It's very special. But my wife and I were very touched by your faith. Tim Tebow obviously is showing his faith in the marketplace, and a lot of us appreciate, and it resonates with a lot of us. Your organization gives back. How do you bring in faith to your organization, and how do you give back? Because certainly you've done a wonderful job of that over the years.
Well, thank you so much. Without my faith in the Lord Jesus, I would be a complete disaster. I just would. So I attribute the good things to his great grace and his amazing patience with me. I've made many, many mistakes and continue to, but I'm so grateful for that, for his unending grace. That's cornerstone in my life. I don't impose my faith on other people. Our team at work is made up of people of all different beliefs. They know my beliefs and are completely supportive and know what it is and how important that is to me. It's interesting, and that's a great question that you asked. I'm very mindful to not exploit my faith. We run a business and we sell things, and I would never want that to be misinterpreted. I never want to have anyone feel that way or be misled in any way. It is the most important thing in my life, and I'm absolutely not ashamed of it. And it's just part of who I am. So
Well, the real question,
with
the real question
all
I
that
have,
we do with every decision.
the real question I have is, you're blessed to have a tremendous platform and significance in your life, and many listeners have great platforms of their own. You're talking about individual brands or company brands, and I think it's incumbent on all of us to give back and give back to their communities. And I really underscore what you've done, and I just wanted you to allude to that for a moment, how you've given back.
Kath?
Extremely blessed when we're able, I mean, the fact that we're able to be in business today, so many people are out of work, and we don't take that for granted for one moment. And working with different organizations, whether it's JFK University, the United Way, the Alliance for Christian Education, the Elizabeth Taylor HIV/AIDS Foundation, it is researching great organizations, and I've been accused of being a control freak. It's important to me when we're getting involved with a nonprofit and encouraging others to do the same, to really find out what are these people doing. You can be wonderful people with great intentions, but maybe not be the best stewards or have the strongest business savvy, but perhaps they're willing to learn, to step up. Maybe there are people who will work with you and you can help make their nonprofit stronger. That's always exciting when those opportunities come up. But really doing the work and looking through the books and finding out what's going on with these nonprofits and working with nonprofits who are getting great results. That's important. When we go into these communities, for example, with the home industry, going into High Point, North Carolina, I imagine that is incredibly disruptive for the citizens who live there to have people just traipsing through their town and traffic and all that entails. So let's find ways to learn about the needs in that community, and let's get involved and give something back wherever we work, whether it's through the children, whether it's through furniture donation organizations that we can work with, but really learning about the needs of each place that we visit and giving back there. We have a skincare manufacturer in Israel, and being able to get minerals from the Dead Sea, how can we get without giving back? So finding organizations in Israel that are doing great work that we can work with, whether it's WITSO or some of the other fantastic groups, Sheba Medical, that's important to us.
Well, Kathy, thank you so much for spending all this time with us. I originally told your publicist, I said, we only need her for about 10 minutes, but I'm glad you blessed us with as much time as you did. We've been listening to Kathy Ireland, supermodel to super mom and super entrepreneur. And again, Kathy, thank you so much for being our guest today on The Best of Investing, and please visit us when you're back up here in Northern California.
Well, I look forward to it. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show with you. Thank you to all of you, Ed, Mark, Brian, and Randy. And Randy, congratulations to you and your company. I wish all of you the very best. And Ed, please give your gorgeous wife my best wishes.
I sure will. Thanks again, Kathy.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Listen, she's the only one who can call me Ed. My name's Edward, but she can call me Ed. Okay, we're going to have to cut to our first commercial break, so here's the first trivia question. We usually only, remember this is famous sitcom supporting actors. Okay. All right. We usually only saw the top of his hat over a fence. What was the name of the neighbor on the sitcom Home Improvement? The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. And by the way, it wasn't Kilroy. We usually only saw the top of his hat over a fence. What was the name of the neighbor on the sitcom Home Improvement? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number, and speak slowly and spell it out with your information, and we will be right back.
Sorry about the long long question.
No, that's fine.
Wilson?
We'll just have,
Yes.
I was gonna say Nelson, I could, Wilson, that's right.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
that was
Kramer,
close.
but
Make sure she thanked everybody at JFK for the Kennedy Awards, and made sure she, she just,
very good speaker.
Excellent speaker.
All right, good.
Okay, so now we'll get into the second segment here, and we'll introduce Randy.
Follow her again, just like on stage.
Not quite as good looking,
So
but just as interesting.
I almost hung up on her. That's what I did.
3 kids
you
plus
thought she
2
was our
extra and 4
salesperson.
dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Brian Burke and Mark Hanf. And when we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this first trivia question. We usually only saw the top of his hat over a fence. What was the name of the neighbor on the sitcom Home Improvement?
Wilson.
Wilson, that is correct. All right, we are in the studio now. Well, thank you very much, Kathy Ireland. But now we're going to go over to Randy Williams. And do you want to introduce him, Brian?
Oh yes, yeah, we get Kathy Ireland and Randy Williams on a show, and I get laryngitis. What's really going on here? So I'll let you take it, Edward.
Oh, okay. So Randy is president of and founder of Keiretsu Forum, which is the largest angel investor network. And I'm just going to hand it right over to Randy. Go ahead, Randy. Tell us, first of all, first question, what is the Keiretsu Forum?
Well, before I get into that, I want to acknowledge what a wonderful guest you had on a moment ago, Kathy Ireland, Entrepreneurs That Give Back. She's grown her company over $1 billion, and her organization and my organization were fortunately honored for the Kennedy Awards in November, and we created 75 scholarships for veterans coming back from war. But every organization, whether it's Keiretsu Forum or whoever's listening out there, or your own individual brand, figure out a way to give back and enjoy having that significance, but enjoy giving back. Keiretsu Forum is a membership organization that started here in Northern California 12 years ago, and it has resonated here, and it's grown around the world. We have 23 chapters. Our latest one is actually in Istanbul, Turkey. We're in 3 continents, Asia, Europe, and here. What we're early stage investors before the public markets, primarily in startups, primarily in technology. However, 30% of our portfolio is brick and mortar. We invest in real estate projects. We invest in a very interesting project. For instance, we have the licensing rights. We invested in Maverick Surf Contest. We invested in fashion.
Wow.
We invest in soft drinks. So the whole spirit of Keiretsu Forum is mind share, a swarm intelligence of a community to help each other without a vested interest.
I was going to say, because you're not a venture capital group where you guys themselves are trying to invest money and take it over as a company. It's more a bunch of investors, right?
Correct. We're a membership organization, and there's an annual membership fee. And when you make an investment, and we have a 6-month rule, we don't want you to invest for 6 months because we have a wonderful platform of educating early stage investors to understand the risk and the opportunity of early stage investing. But when you do make an investment, 100% goes to the entrepreneur. So the whole spirit of Keiretsu is helping each other through swarm intelligence or mind share of a robust investing community.
Okay, now laryngitis or none, you have to still ask a question.
Oh yeah, I've definitely got to do that. So a lot of angel investor groups, they don't invest in real estate. They invest only in startup companies. And our company, Praxis Capital, is a real estate private equity firm, and we do real estate deals. And I understand that Keiretsu also invests in real estate deals, which is unique to angel investing. In fact, we presented at Keiretsu Forum a couple months ago and actually raised capital through Keiretsu Forum. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, again, we like to see all types of investing, early stage and also real estate. We feel it's, in many respects, great companies like yourself providing safe harbor investing through real estate with a very attractive return. So some of our members want to hit it out of the park with hopefully a 10x return, and some of us, myself included, like to go safe harbor, invest in a mortgage fund, invest in a real estate opportunity like yours. But the whole spirit of it is, instead of 1 or 2 people, analyzing it, you can sign up on the sheet to look at this opportunity, and now you have 20 or 30 or 50 Keiretsu Forum members helping you without a vested interest to ascertain if it's going to be a good investment or not.
So Randy, I just want to make clear that the audience understands. So what the Keiretsu Forum does is you're bringing together those who are seeking capital for their startup venture, or in what you just spoke about, potential real estate ventures. You're bringing them together also with people who are interested in how do I become an angel investor. So you're kind of bringing the whole parties together, and you're educating both sides of the table, I understand.
Exactly. It's as simple as we are legally a facilitator, and we're bringing it together. And then when I say we, it's not me. The secret sauce is our membership. We're blessed to have 365 members in Northern California. They are the ones bringing the deal flow. They are possibly tired of being solicited, but they see a great opportunity. They bring it, and then we have very proactive deal screening groups and committees, and the whole spirit of Keiretsu. We receive 50 companies a month. Only 4 make it because the membership getting involved not only in deal flow origination by bringing these great deals to us, but they also get involved in the selection about actually what companies make it. But after a company presents the Keiretsu Forum, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, if in fact you are interested or not interested, you are enjoying the mind share, the groupthink of a community. But the 11th hour, when you want to make an investment, 100% of your dollars goes to the entrepreneur. It doesn't flow back to Keiretsu. We're a membership organization.
Now, the ones that don't make it, is it like a felony background check, or what kind of companies? Don't name them by names, but what ones have not made it for what reasons?
Well, we're spoiled. We're going on our 13th year at Keiretsu, and generally, speaking of technology opportunities, there's a lot of great companies out there, but we're not that early. We're usually after friends and family. We're usually at a place where the company has revenue or about to get revenue, and so that is our validator, that we can validate there's actually income coming in. And the perfect opportunity in technology is where our $1 million or $1.5 million will lead that company break even. And the only way that we as investors or early stage angel investors will make money if a company scales and there's an exit.
Okay, so it's not just a typical, you go to the bank and the banker says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And you go, convicted? No, I was never convicted.
Well, the VCs that see our deal flow after we invest in it are more impressed than, for instance, we'll deliver a book of anywhere from 6 inches to 12 inches of all the mind share of whoever's interested in the opportunity. All the positives, all the critiques, and then members make up their individual decisions.
And are there like specific committees? Because those guys don't get paid for reviewing all the documents, right?
The spirit of Keiretsu Forum is engagement and participation. If you're going to join a country club, if you're not going to play golf or tennis, don't join. The same thing at Keiretsu. Get involved. You can get involved in our charitable side. You can get involved in our committee. But yes, we have 10 different committees, from software to telco to real estate, etc.
Okay, and so you have the people who are experts in real estate, hopefully on the committees that are looking at real estate type deals.
So if I have a company that I want to present to Keiretsu, is there a process that I would go through?
Yes. The best way to present to Keiretsu Forum is actually come as a guest and see what's going on. We have 4 chapters in the Bay Area. We always meet the end of each month, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday, San Francisco. Wednesday afternoon is the North Bay. Thursday is East Bay. Friday, Silicon Valley. Come, sit in the back, see what's going on. Then we have an online application, and then what happens then, it goes to the committee. So if it's a real estate opportunity, we'll go to the real estate committee, and then again, out of 50 companies a month, only 4 make it to the eventual presentations, which are at the end of the month.
Well, it's like trying to be an umpire. It's kind of hard to be an umpire, too. Well, let me ask you, what are investors looking for in terms of deal structure and returns?
What type of product type?
Brian, you came up with these questions.
Primarily in startup and tech companies.
Well, let's get, because you're a real estate aficionado and you have a great fund yourself, you listen carefully to the committee, and you had a structure that was good, and then we created a great structure because we want you to win.
That's right.
And we want to win, but we gave, and you were very receptive to some of the things that we said, and so why don't you tell us the structure?
There's probably some different feedback, like you're going in with
that's true. That's one of the things that Keiretsu Forum is really good for, is not only do they are they a source for capital, but they're also a source for advice. And they may say to you, hey, this is a really good deal, but you can make this a better deal if you do this and this. And that's really helpful for the entrepreneur.
And you're also a great listener, and thank you. And you obviously have a great company, and hopefully we'll make money with you in Texas. But we structure it differently, and you listened. And if you hadn't listened, you might have gotten less capital.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly. Okay, we're going to cut to our second trivia question, the commercial break. Mark, this one's for you. What was the name of the mailman on Seinfeld? Remember he used to go, Jerry. The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What was the name of the mailman on the TV show Seinfeld? Call 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number. Remember to speak it slowly, please, and spell out your information for us, and we will be right back.
Newman!
Hello,
Newman!
Well, welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf and Brian Berg. We're in the studio here with the founder and CEO of Keiretsu Forum. We're going to come back to him in just a minute after we go to email time with Mark. But we had a second trivia question, and that was, what was the name of the mailman on Seinfeld? All right, Mark. Newman! It's hello, Newman. Remember you used to say it that way? Okay. Here, Mark, we received an email from a listener, and actually I thought this was very good. Can you give me an example of one of your loans and why the borrower needed to use your company instead of a regular bank? That's a great question.
That is a great question. Well, I'm president of Pacific Private Money. We're a private money mortgage broker of real estate loans to real estate investors. Our specialty is making loans to Bay Area real estate investors secured by Bay Area property, mostly investment property. And the reason people come to us today is for the simple reason that banks in general are no longer making loans to real estate investors. They've, ever since the real estate meltdown and the financial meltdown and the subprime market vanishing, banks in general have refocused their energies, quite frankly, on consumer home loans. So if you're a consumer looking to buy a loan, the loan interest rates are fabulous, and for the most part, that's where the bulk of their activity is, in addition to refinancing of consumer home loans.
Okay, so give us an example of a loan that you recently did and why the borrower could not get a regular bank loan.
Well, on a regular basis, 4 to 5 loans per week we're closing to, for example, we have several experienced rehabbers, they call them. They're basically people who buy, fix, and flip real estate in markets around the Bay Area. Notwithstanding what you'll hear or read in the media about how crappy the real estate market is and how sales are down, etc. There still are sales going on. They're nowhere near at the volume of they were in 2005, but there's still sales going on, largely to first-time home buyers and taking advantage of those low interest rates that they can get from the bank. But in order to get those homes to a state where a first-time home buyer would want to buy them, these are usually our borrower clients are usually real estate investors who are looking for opportunities to buy bank-owned property, many of which are in poor condition. And so they'll buy them, they'll remodel them, sometimes substantially remodel them, and then put them back on the market. So this is a way to really improve the existing inventory of real estate, put it back on the market for first-time home buyers. So really that's really the simple answer to, why would someone go to Pacific Private Money and pay higher interest rates to borrow money, as opposed to the bank. It's the banks are really not making those kind of loans right now, and based on my forecast looking forward for 2012 and 13, I really don't see banks coming back into that market anytime soon. The companies like Pacific Private Money have really grown to fill that gap in the financing, to provide that much needed capital to the real estate investment community, which by and large is an important part of the economy. So I don't want to necessarily toot my own horn, but private lenders have been an important component to the economy that we actually have. You can talk about the economy being still pretty slow, or we're still kind of in coming out of a recession. If it weren't for private money capital being made readily available to real estate investors, we'd be in much poorer shape right now.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And you said the word crappy. Is that okay? On the
I
FCC?
know,
No, that's
I wondered
okay.
about that,
In
yeah.
fact, I think there isn't there some kind of Supreme Court case or something that they're looking at to
Yeah,
see what
They
you
are
can say on
talking
the
about
air?
that right now. They're talking about maybe doing away with the restrictions on naughty words on the cable. I mean, the primary.
Ours is a
TV
family show,
channels.
so we're going to keep it clean
Absolutely.
here. A right. You know what, guys? We're going to go to a very quick commercial break because we had Kathy on for a nice long time, and then we'll come back and we'll get a little bit more into what Randy does at Kretzer Forum, because I know Brian's got a couple more questions. All right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So here is our third and final trivia question. What was the name of the manager of the Central Perk Coffee House on the TV show Friends? The first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. What was the name of the manager of the Central Perk Coffee House on the TV show Friends? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number, and speak slowly and spell it out. And we will be right back.
Stretch. I just fell on time.
Oh,
Let's try to get your hat in on the. My hat's been on.
Is there an advertisement on the front of that hat?
yeah, of course.
We need to.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, again along with Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money and Brian Burke of Praxis Capital. We're in the studio here with Randy Williams, who is the founder and CEO of Kretzer Forum, and the largest angel investor company, basically, forum in the world. And when we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question. What was the name of the manager of the Central Perk Coffee House on the TV show Friends? Anybody?
Nope.
Bleach blonde guy.
The bleach blonde guy, that is correct. His name was Gunther.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and a quick reminder, World Wraps in Corte Madera and Santa Clara is still giving our listeners a free smoothie with purchase of a wrap or bowl. If you mention the Best of Investing, go there for lunch today. They have the best wraps in town. Don't forget to mention the Best of Investing for your free smoothie. Brian, you were going to ask Randy a question.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of Kretzer meetings, and I noticed that after each presentation, you always ask the company presenting, is there any other resources that you need beyond capital? So do you guys not just try to network people with sources of capital, but also try to network them with other things that would be useful for their business?
Yeah, so we have a no solicitation policy at Kretzer, so our members know that they are there because they have good hearts, but they're there to give free resources in their Rolodex to help these companies grow. So if a technology company needs introduction to Google or Facebook or AT&T, we're very fortunate, have over 365 members in Northern California, and someone has a resource in any industry that a Kretzer Forum company that's presenting to us, we can help, our members can help, and so I've said that for the last 12 years, as I MC most of the Kretzer Forum, is what do you need besides capital, because resources can be as powerful or even more effective than capital. So what resources can we give you free to help your companies grow?
That's big.
So how does one join the Kretzer Forum?
Kretzer Forum it doesn't advertise, and our members bring in members. However, if you don't know about Kretzer Forum, be my guest. Just go online and at kretzerforum.com, and
You better spell that out.
Yeah, I think I spell that wrong every time.
yeah, Keiretsu is KEIRETSU, Forum, FORUM.
Just like it sounds.
And we've been fortunate to fund 302 great companies over the last 12 years.
Myself included.
Sorry?
Myself incled.
Yeah,
Yes.
how much money has been raised?
Over $200 million.
Wow.
And there is a book written about us that potential members can see, that was tracking our first 7 years. And if you invested $1 in the whole portfolio, we've certainly have had failures, we've had restarts. But on our liquidity events, when this book was published with 50 liquidity events, you'd have a 24% internal rate of return on your money. So we have beaten all indexes in the marketplace because what I said earlier in the show, it's about mind share, it's about groupthink, And a member that joins Kretzer Forum, generally, she or he has had a great entrepreneurial career themselves or in corporate, but they've had success and they've had significance in their life, and they want to come to Kretzer Forum. You have to be accredited, you have to have a minimum net worth of $1 million to be a member, but they want to not only diversify their portfolio in the early stage arena, but they also want to protect their money. And so we have academies, we have educational platform to educate our members, and we have, again, a 6-month rule. We ask you not to invest in these companies because we really want you to take your time. The whole spirit of Kretzer, our membership organization, and how we get paid at Kretzer is it's membership fee. It's a very small fee. It's $3,000 a year. We rely on sponsors and membership fee, but the whole spirit of it is enjoy the swarm intelligence, the group think, to be a smarter, better investor.
Well, the thing I like about it is that you're independent. I mean, you're not specifically sponsoring any of these specific investments. You're just the forum, as the name says, to put it together so that a bunch of people could get together and decide, do I want to invest in this one or this one? I mean, it was great because somebody had to put together some kind of forum like this. And
Well, you described it perfectly. They're facilitators. They're
Exactly.
facilitating
That's the word.
the community of those seeking capital for their startup businesses and facilitating them to be able to meet the vast network of individuals out there with money who have an interest in getting involved in that type of
Well, exactly. Think about it for a
investment.
minute. Let's say I've got $1 million and I'm thinking about investing, and I don't want to just typically go to a stockbroker as an example. I'm sort of interested in these startup type companies. What other kind of avenue is there, right?
And generally, if you want to be passive and give $1 million to a stockbroker, that's totally appropriate. I mean, 90% of my particular capital is in the public marketplace, but I allocate 10% of my dollars and my wife's and my family money toward investment. I've made 36 investments. I've had 8 through Kretzer Forum. And also what's so powerful about it is people are listening. I don't know how many of you have ever been approached by somebody that wants to give you $50,000, want you to invest $50,000 in an opportunity, but you don't have 6 people or 100 people to run it by that really truly care that you make a good investment. So the whole spirit, no vested interest. So when you do make an investment as a Kretzer Forum member, 100% of your dollars goes to
Well, when I went to the one forum and I saw the people making presentation, there were some very intelligent people in the audience who were asking poignant questions. Not to be aggressive, but they had very good questions that the average person would really have said, oh, I wish I would have thought of that ahead of time because I don't want to just invest without knowing.
So is there a cost to going to one of your events
No.
to check it out?
It's free, and we have a 2 meeting rule, and so please come check it out. If you don't know a member, please be our guest, and you can come twice. We limit and dissuade, looky-loos, but you have to see it for yourself to ascertain if it's benefit for you. But what we compete with is time. You need to have time to look at opportunities in the marketplace. You have time, come enjoy the community. People join Kretzer Forum because obviously they want to make good investment, take control of their own portfolio, but why they stay is because they build friendships and community within Kretzer Forum.
Randy, really quickly, just give your phone number and then we're going to have to pay. What's your phone number?
It's Kretzer Forum, and just go online. And if you want to interact with me, just go ahead and email me, randy@kretzerforum.com.
Great. All right. Thoughts for the day. Why do British people never sound British when they sing? And if you want to know a person's native language, ask him to do a math problem out loud. He'll always do it in his native tongue. Isn't that interesting? Okay, tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thank you, Randy, for being our guest. Kathy Ireland, if you're listening, thank you for being our guest also. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.